And the 2021 trade deadline is now behind us. I'm Chris.
I'm Josh.
This is Wingscast, and it kind of came down to the wire. It was really boring right before the end.
I mean, I guess it depends on what's boring. Some people, some of the, I wouldn't call them nerds, but some of the into it guys, especially in Toronto, were all over it. This is the most action they've seen in what, 25 years, 26
Yeah,
years.
I guess I could say it, Toronto trying to go all the way, but
Right.
I mean, as a Wings fan, we heard of all this. Oh, we have all these UFAs. Who's going to move? Glenn Denning's going to
Who
move.
remembers we're done? Who
Yeah.
remembers that? Yeah, we're done. We're
I
done.
should try to find that and put
We're
it on this video.
we're done. Throw your hands up. We're
Yeah,
done.
we're done. Oh, Kenny, he
Whatever.
didn't do anything. Did Edmonton do anything today?
Kulikov. You
Oh,
got
that's right,
Kulikov.
Kulikov. I remember seeing that.
And there was talks about Mantha going to Edmonton that I saw, which would have made sense, but I don't think they have anything to give back.
Oh, they've got some defensive
Maybe
prospects.
Nugent Hopkins plus a defensive
I think
prospect.
Nugent Hopkins is a UFA this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't think you'd want to go there. There's some defensive prospects they have. They have some other stuff, but I don't think they. I think they have cap problems.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so.
Surprise, surprise.
Follows Kenny around. It was Chiarelli's fault, really. But...
Legwand's going to come out of retirement just for this. Cleary's going back to Edmonton.
All right. So, anyways, I mean, really, like our trades, all three of the four trades we made were before today.
Yeah, I mean, pretty underwhelming. I mean, it's like you knew these guys were going. I mean, one was pretty underwhelming with Merrill, right?
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the Merrill trade.
Right.
Well, I guess we could just start from. We'll just go in order.
Yeah, just go in order. Go on.
All right. So the first trade was Patrick Nemeth to Colorado. He was in Colorado, before. So they took him back. 50% retained by the Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, bought ourselves a fourth round pick there, which that's good. I mean, other than the last couple weeks, Nemeth was kind of down this year. So
it's our second pick though in the fourth, right? So we got 2 picks in the fourth, 2 picks in the third.
I believe that's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got 11 picks. This next one, right around that.
Right now, you mean?
Yeah. So I mean,
10, 11. Yeah, I think it's 11 that I mentioned.
I think it's the most we've had in a while.
Wow. So that was a good trade. I was happy with that trade. I didn't think there was much more ceiling for Nemeth. He's kind of a third pair, just depth defenseman.
Well, that's what he came here to do, right? Just kind of be a piece.
Yeah, he came here, and last year he actually played really well for the Red Wings last year.
Sure.
I didn't have any problems. This year he wasn't as good as last year, so I didn't know if he'd be moved at all. Obviously he was, so fourth rounder, good trade.
I don't remember his name being called out much this year, honestly. To be honest, I mean, completely honest. I mean, it's just I forgot he existed until him and Biega. Forgot he existed.
I like Biega. Biega's fun to watch.
Yeah,
he makes a lot of mistakes, but he's fun. Then the next trade is a little more complicated. It's the Dennis Savard deal, where we kind of acted as an intermediary to take on some salary. Columbus traded Savard to us, and then we traded Savard to Tampa, 50% retained. He's a UFA after this year, so it's only cap retained through this year, so it's no big deal going forward. And Columbus got a 2021 first and I think it was a 22 third rounder, and basically we bought ourselves another fourth round pick here.
Lashoff too.
Oh yeah, Lashoff. I didn't understand the Lashoff part of it. I don't know there was contract caps or what, because his salary doesn't affect anything, and he's going to stay in Grand Rapids. I don't know what that part of the deal was necessarily about.
Okay, my question there is, what if they pull him up to playoff? We get in the playoffs. They need a defenseman.
He goes.
He goes.
Okay. Yeah. They've got more defensive depth.
That's
than that,
so weird, though. This is a weird one too, because a lot of 3-team trades this year. It's like the NBA.
Well, I mean, basically, it was just the third team was there to take on the cap, and they're basically buying. Like, we bought a fourth round pick here. That's what we really did. We used some money and some cap space, and yeah. Shoot. So that was a good deal. I mean, if you can do that, you can weaponize your cap space a little bit. Bring an asset back.
Sure.
For in the long run, it's nothing. It's Illich's money, I guess.
Yeah,
but...
it's vanilla. I mean, all of it's pretty vanilla, smooth. Okay, you get a pick here, a pick there, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, I think the next two are probably the two biggest ones on both ends of the scale.
Yeah, so the next one would be John Merrill to Montreal in return for a 2021 fifth round pick, and Hayden Verbeek, who he's kind of an AHL tweener.
And he's Pat Verbeek's son, right?
No, he's Pat Verbeek's nephew.
So makes sense, right? That makes more sense to me than being like, oh, he's middle of the road AHL.
He's putting up, I think he's got like 3 or 4 points in 7 AHL games this year, but he's played some ECHL hockey, and
Probably not the right
nothing's
guy.
going to come of that. He's
No.
already, I think, 23, 24.
Yeah.
Um,
Could be crack our expansion draft protection, maybe,
no,
because you have to bring him up in order. He has to be on the NHL team and then be
who's
protected by the NHL team to be for
for you?
you to qualify for the expansion draft, right?
Well, he would qualify, I believe, due to age, but
Okay.
you're not going to protect him. So,
Right. No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he was over there just here.
oh
We're going to
yeah,
throw him out there, protect this guy instead.
no, he doesn't have to be protected. There's nothing like that. It's just I don't know. Maybe they just wanted him nearby. Who knows? Uh, I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't amount to anything there.
Right.
The fifth round pick, therefore, was kind of underwhelming because Merrill is a better defenseman than Nemeth, who got you a fourth, even with salary retained. So, and he's only like
Yeah.
925,000 cap hit, so prorated. I mean, there's not much money there for Montreal to have to pay out.
No,
So
not at all.
I was pretty underwhelmed on that trade. I thought he could return a third. Um, but yeah, apparently not. Apparently that was the market. I'm sure Steve didn't turn things down. So,
Well, they sent down. They waived. Who's that guy? Mete or
oh
whatever his
yeah,
name is.
Victor Mete.
Mete. They waived him. He gets picked up by Ottawa, which who's at usually at the bottom, right?
They're
The
below
second
us
to
right
bottom.
now.
Yeah. So they picked him up.
Been nice
So
enough we maybe had a claim in on that.
that'd be nice.
But
That Montreal was getting ready to burn the city down after they dropped him.
really,
Yeah, they were pissed off.
I don't see much in Mete. He doesn't do much for me. I would rather have Svechnikov than him. I mean, obviously I know forward defenseman, but and then of course the last trade, basically right at the deadline, I was done. I said, this was pretty boring as it usually is, and
Right.
then you get this kind of blockbuster trade out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. Because I mean, Steve just he plays everything so close to the vest. He's just
I don't.
no one knew about this.
I don't think most of the management knew about it. Honestly, I think with Draper and all them guys in the front office, I don't think 2/3 of those guys or even a third of those guys knew about it.
Really?
Honestly, they said he's been trying to shop him for the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's what I saw. So they've kept this under wraps for that long. Like, hey, look who's on the trade block. We think Mantha's going somewhere. We had no idea. We thought for sure, especially in the last video, he would go. That's when our timeline was, right?
You mean like later on,
Later on, yeah.
draft or later?
Yeah, draft or maybe even at the draft for maybe something bigger, like of course, maybe to
Yeah.
Washington for that matter, but not now. I didn't think we'd get the haul that we got.
I didn't think you could get him out at the deadline due to the salary cap, but I mean this kind of works. And I mean Washington fans aren't real happy about this trade at all.
Just for Verana, I think they were fine with getting rid of the picks
Yeah.
and Panic, but I don't think that.
Well, this is
just the replies on Twitter. I'm like, holy hell!
so. This is kind of a. I don't get this trade from the cap sport. I mean, Mantha's a good player. He's probably better with better centers.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you've got that going for him. But you've got Vrana, who he's got some speed. He can shoot. He can score. He'd lead this team in points right now.
Yeah,
The Wings. So
and that's underperforming too. They said they weren't too happy with his output this year.
right. So he's underperforming. So he's kind of right in line with Mantha from a production
Mm-hmm.
standpoint. He doesn't have the well-rounded of a game as Mantha defensively. People are pointing to Mantha's underlying statistics and like the advanced stats and really I think a lot of Mantha's good defensive stats probably come from the fact that he creates so much possession and they hold the puck so much, so he's not playing as much defense.
Right.
So Vrana for Mantha, a lot of people think that's kind of even.
That's 1-1.
Maybe 1A, 1B, 1 and 2 at the worst, right?
He was in the doghouse with Laviolette. I remember.
That kind of makes me worry about Blash, though, too.
God, leading up to this, I think Holland slow rolled Mantha. Mantha should have been up like Zadina timeline. That should have been Mantha's timeline. Same timeline and everything.
I remember him having the spare parts conversation about Mantha at that trade deadline. You remember that? It was I want to say it was like a trade with Toronto or something, and maybe getting talked about. And Mantha was kind of out there just considered spare parts or something like that by the Detroit Red Wings. I remember that.
Well, that explains a lot. I mean, I just think, man, looking at leading up to this, to Mantha being traded here, think of it, and we talked about it on the site too, was think about how bad the pipeline's been. Like the process has been bad, how bad it's been here. Because, I mean, these guys are coming up, and Mantha is probably a 30 to 40 goal scorer. somewhere
I mean,
else.
he's not scored 30 yet. I think he can
He
be
hasn't.
around 30. Um,
The right development though, like put him in a thing like with Pittsburgh, maybe in their pipeline. I mean, Gensel came up through that.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
some of these
Gensel also
bigger
plays
guys.
with Crosby though,
That's,
so
that's
that's
true, but I mean, it's but when Gensel went down, they struggled. So I mean, I guess it's just we need. I don't know if Stevie's just revamping at how we do things now. I'm interested to see how Cider pans out. Like he looks like a monster right now,
yep.
but if he comes into this system and just completely flat tires, which
Let's not even get ahead of
that's what I'm
ourselves here.
saying. We need to like do revamp the process here. Mantha should have been a premier scorer here. Should have, like top tier scorer, first line winger,
We got a lot of
go
first line
to.
time, but when you've got one scoring line, which is what we've had with you put him and Larkin on one line, you've got one scoring line. That's all the other team has to face all night. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. But I mean, you got
So
Fabry on the second line now, which he's been
Fabry's been a
great.
lot better this year.
Right.
Previous to that, last year Fabry wasn't that great.
I thought they'd move him before they moved Mantha, honestly.
Well, he's injured right now, so. But yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so you got the Verona to Mantha kind of
Right.
comparisons. I think Verona's got some good speed. Maybe that works well with Larkin. You get a guy with speed out there with him.
You know, I agree to a point, but last night's game against Carolina, he got beat the night before. He got beat to a puck. It was a free puck by a defenseman. I
Yeah.
think it was Hamilton. Like, granted, he's big, but he's not nearly as fast as Larkin is. So I don't know if Larkin just kind of tried to play the position himself differently or what. But clearly got beat.
Yeah, Larkin has been fantastic the last week or so. But either way, I'm just saying, like, the
Yeah.
thought of Larkin with speed, and then Verona has some speed. Maybe that,
Then Bertuzzi comes back, and
I
maybe
don't think
throw
you're
him
going to see
on.
Bertuzzi again this year.
No,
Um,
no.
I wouldn't. I just let him rest and, recuperate.
Same thing with Ryan.
So anyway, so the rest of this trade, uh, you get the 2021 first rounder on top of Verona, and you got a 2022 second rounder, both Washington's picks. And then Richard Panik was in there too, basically to balance the cap. He's
Good
actually
specialty guy.
he's actually down right now. He's taxi squad in Washington, so he doesn't have to clear waivers coming here.
Okay.
So he could be down still. I mean, he could come up depending on what we do. Where I guess that trade right there, that's at least an A. I don't give it the plus just because we don't know how the first and second turn out yet, or how they plan on using Brana yet.
We got 2 first-round picks now.
Yep.
Probably a higher first-round pick and what, early 20s pick?
Yeah,
Or
probably
late teens?
late teens would be fantastic. Probably early 20s. I guess it depends how the Caps come out. I think right now they're slated to play Boston. So really that's something we're really the playoffs don't have a lot of implications for us this year, but that's a big one. I mean,
Well, they just got Hall. What if he turns it on, goes on a hot streak? I mean, they've got goaltending, so
and their goaltenders are both out right now.
Rask is out. Is he still out from last year?
I don't remember when he's up. I remember reading. I don't pay that much attention to Boston. They're not a
Who the
favorite
hell's
team of mine.
Washington's goalie now? Grubauer?
Yeah.
Talbot? It's not Talbot,
No,
is
it's not
it? No,
Talbot.
it's not Talbot.
I
That's a
don't
good
know.
question right there,
I
man.
should know these things, but
I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting to see how Washington pans out. If he goes over there and Manthus, picks up 15, 20 goals, what do you think? Verona just keeps going what he's doing. Like I said, I think it's just going to depend on coaching. I was really hoping we'd see full potential Mantha next year under a different regime. But that being said, I think with what we got, A plus kind of band-aids the wound a little bit personally.
yeah. So really, what this does, we kind of kick the rebuild. It might take a little longer now, but you never know. I mean, maybe Verona gets more minutes, and he really helps. Maybe he just fills in that same kind of role Mantha has right now, that 20-ish, 25 goals.
Well, there's a question. It's just a big question mark. Like, we haven't really seen a lot. Like, I'll probably watch Verona videos all week, and really,
Yeah,
I mean, and Panic. I mean, I think he was on that Chicago Cup team, wasn't he? I think.
I believe you're right on that. Yeah.
So I mean, he's a veteran coming into that locker room, which is we need more influence. So
that was another thing I was kind of bummed about. Is like, if they're gonna leave him down, fine. But are we really just picking up more bottom six vets at this point? We all want to see Smith. We all want to see Svechnikov, and
Rasmussen, man, he's playing good too.
I think Rasmus is playing a lot better.
Wow. He was in the mix last night. Like that goal they scored where he was in the crease. I'm like,
Yep.
that's where he needs to be.
Yep.
That's exactly. And then he was getting tough with somebody. I forget. It might have been Hamilton again in front of their bench. But anyway, different video. Yeah.
So anyway, so trade deadline grade, I give it an A.
I
The only one I didn't like is the Merrill one, but fifth to a fourth or a third. I don't know if that's a
I'd
huge
probably
deal.
sign him next year, right? He's a
Merrill,
UFA, right?
he's a UFA, but I mean, you never know. Those
What's the
guys
point?
are
Oh,
all.
Sider's coming up. Lidstrom's going to get time now, so maybe
Yeah,
we
they
don't
did say
see him.
Lindstrom will see time in the roster at some point. But I guess this going forward, at least the rest of the year, our defense gets a little worse. You might see more Chalowski. We'll probably see more Juice.
Hmm.
Um, Lindstrom comes in. That'd be nice to see.
Right-handed shot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Lindstrom is. And then yes, we get to watch Vrana. See what that kind of looks at because he's going to be an RFA this year. I think his qualifying cap hit will be somewhere in the 3+ million
Okay.
range. I don't think it's that expensive. I don't know exactly what it is. It's over 3 million though. That's still not bad. We're paying Mantha 5.7.
Yeah, over 4.
What's that? Or Mantha?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, he'll probably wait out that term in Washington. He'll be 30 when he's done there. So I mean, I think it was a
This
really good trade.
this is a really good trade. I was really happy with it. A lot of people were kind of bummed Mantha went. I get that, but I think going forward, this is you kind of get equal pieces. They're a little different. And really, right there, I think that's a toss up to who wins this trade too. I mean, maybe Verana comes in, gets more minutes, does really well.
I think
Maybe,
the picks alone win
well,
you
yeah,
the
the
trade,
picks,
right?
yeah, the picks on top it just make this an amazing trade.
Right.
And I think Yzerman did fantastic here. I don't like I
Last
said
minute, yeah.
the Merrill trade was kind of meh, but you can't really hate on it.
Yeah, and I mean couple little moves. I think we see a big move out of Stevie somewhere down the line. Maybe I don't know who the UFA RFAs are coming up right now, but maybe there's a younger 20-year-old that's going to be it's going to fit into the piece again. Maybe a bigger guy because now we lose size on the team, which is kind of when we got Rass and stuff
Yeah,
like
you got
that. I
Ras,
mean,
you'll have
Larkin's not
Cider.
small, but yeah, you're going to have Cider, but and hopefully Smith gets more time. But you hate to lose the big guy who has a good shot, and maybe Svetch steps up because
Maybe
he's pretty big
maybe
too.
get some more minutes. I don't know.
I hope so.
But I liked it. I think this is a good trade. This is probably the best trade deadline we've seen in a while.
Probably his best trade since he's got here.
Fabry.
I'd say over
You
Fabry.
think it's better than Fabry? Okay.
Better than Fabry.
Okay. Well,
We'll
I
see.
agree with that. All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out, wingscast.com. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.